It feels like Fullmetal Alchemist is kinda back in 2026 thanks to a brand new anime. Characters and concepts that feel like they were pulled straight from that legendary series are gracing our screens in an all-new way courtesy of YOMI no Tsugai. The newest anime by legendary mangaka and FMA creator Hiromu Arakawa is out now. YOMI no Tsugai, literally pairs from the underworld or localized to Daemons of the Shadow Realm, is in many ways the spiritual sequel, the true follow-up to Fullmetal Alchemist. With familiar art, character designs, look at female Ed over here, nostalgic archetypes and pairings, Daemons feels like it was made for Fullmetal fans hungry for more. From the jump, you're taken for quite a ride. I'm gonna tell you about episode 1, so if anything feels like spoilers, just know it's the pilot. We start by following Yuru, an Elric-looking adolescent living in what seems to be a mountain village in feudal Japan. He's a gifted hunter and twin brother to a sister, Asa, that is held in a prison deep within his village for reasons. Yuru talks about airborne dragons roaring and leaving cloud trails in the sky, but to the viewer those roars sound an awful lot like jet planes and those cloud paths look like contrails. It's our first real clue that something is not right before things start to pop off. The mountain village is attacked by a SWAT team using modern weaponry, but also a handful of daemons, supernatural shadow spirits. At this point in episode 1, it's clear that this is not a simple feudal era Fullmetal. We're dealing with modern tech, ancient spirits, and unraveling a massive conspiracy. It's a little FMA, a dash of Attack on Titan with warring factions and a hometown massacre in the pilot, and a little Digimon or even Shaman King with the spirit guardians. A woman claiming to be Asa is with the invaders and insists that the girl in the prison cell is not Yuru's real sister. His brain is breaking now, and if you're anything like me, yours is too. While many villagers are massacred, Yuru is saved by a pair of Daemons, sort of Digimon meet fairy godparents, guardian spirits that have much to teach Yuru but are equally clueless on topics like modern weapons and urban planning. Yuru is not the only one with dual daemons. When he leaves the mountain village and explores modern Japan, we meet Hana paired with cat and dog daemons, and Jin Kagemori, who seems to have inherited the aura of Roy Mustang with terrifying daemons Ai and Makoto. The series, at least in its initial arc, invites the viewer to question everything. Should Yuru be accepting the help of Hana and company, or should he be hearing out what the Kagemori clan has to say even after they slaughtered members of his village? Were the villagers secretly his jailers? Can he trust Asa, and is she actually his twin sister? So that's the core of YOMI no Tsugai, Daemons of the Shadow Realm. Before I share some more thoughts, I thought it would be fun to recap the journey from Fullmetal Alchemist to YOMI no Tsugai, remembering Hiromu Arakawa's most notable works. Arakawa published 2 manga, Stray Dog and Ghost Demons of Shanghai, respectively, before beginning Fullmetal Alchemist in 2001. The landmark series, perhaps best known for its 2 anime adaptations, Fullmetal Alchemist and Brotherhood, would be a 9-year commitment for the author, with the manga running from 2001 to 2010. During that run, Arakawa found time for shorter comedies too, as well as science fiction and martial arts stories, with manga like Raiden 18 and Hero Tales. But as for the comedies, she also started The Noble Farmer, Hyakusho Kizoku, in 2006 and really hasn't stopped. It's this semi-autobiographical slice-of-life comedy about dairy farmers in Hokkaido, based on her childhood and her family farm. Its updates are published infrequently, though 9 volumes have been published total between 2006 and 2026, and a 3-season anime exists with a 4th on the way. Strangely enough, it's not her only slice of farm life story. A year after wrapping up Fullmetal Alchemist, Arakawa began writing Silver Spoon, Gin no Saji, which followed the life of a Hokkaido high schooler who joins the agricultural club. Like The Noble Farmer, it's this slower-paced look inside a real industry, a real lifestyle that Arakawa can speak to with serious lived experiences. For fans who wanted her to tackle the epic fantasy of Fullmetal, beginning in 2013, Arakawa embarked on a manga adaptation of a famous Japanese novel series that began in 1986, The Heroic Legend of Arslan. This is not totally unheard of. Mamoru Hosoda, for instance, has adapted The Girl Who Leapt Through Time from an existing story, and Hayao Miyazaki has done the same on several occasions, including Howl's Moving Castle, as well as The Boy and the Heron, coming from a Japanese novel. While the original novels have of course wrapped, the manga version isn't quite there yet, now in its final arc though. And while Arakawa has been working away on that, in 2019 she finally began work on her original epic follow-up to Fullmetal, writing and illustrating YOMI no Tsugai, Again, while one might consider Arslan her return to epic fantasy, it being her first foray after FMA, it was not an original story of her own, more like a warm-up. YOMI no Tsugai, Daemons of the Shadow Realm, being the first serialized Arakawa manga that is both an adventure story, not slice of life, and fully original, not an adaptation, is what has anime fans saying we're finally getting that spiritual sequel to Fullmetal Alchemist, the next big thing from Hiromu Arakawa. Okay, so we've covered that journey from FMA in 2001 to YOMI no Tsugai in 2021, a 20-year journey with a decade of side questing in between the FMA finale and the Tsugai kickoff. If you're still with me and you still need convincing, let me share some bonus thoughts on the first 5 episodes of the 2026 anime. More than anything, I'm enamored by this new type of guardian spirit and human tamer dynamic that Arakawa is doing. What we're seeing in Daemons is not quite Monster Tamer, not quite Shaman King, though it's remixing both in a way that I find fascinating. Yuru's twin guardians, the right and left, had been watching him his entire life, although he could never see them. Of course, normal humans can't see the daemons, though some people, as well as doggies, possess the ability to interface with them. Our antagonists, if we want to call them that, the Kagamori clan, appear to all be daemon users. Gabby, for instance, commands the horrific Gabriel, who appears to be pulled straight out of FMA. Jin's daemons are equally spooky. We're shown an introduction scene where he uses his human-eating monsters for good to stop some kind of predator targeting women alone at night. Hana has a pair of daemons, Kotetsu and Jiro, who look just like household pets, showing us the huge variety of daemon types. Yuru's left daemon, Hidari, tells him and the audience, quote, "It would be unwise to judge daemons by the same standards as humans. We're too varied to relate to one another. Some have no means to process reason." This line is awesome. It kind of gives us a permission slip to get hyped about daemon battles of all varieties, of facing off against mindless daemons as well as complicated ones with nuanced motivations. Perhaps a silly comparison, but like how Digimon Adventure can have Kuwagamon as a villain, but also Myotismon, Puppetmon, and Machinedramon. With the partner dynamics, we can also expect daemon and human team-ups to resemble kids and parents, brothers and sisters, best friends, co-workers. Yuru, Migi, and Hidari's dynamic is especially fun because at times the spirits are very parental, these keepers of knowledge when it comes to the past and the spiritual world, but then as it relates to the present, to modern-day technology and city planning, they're just as clueless as Yuru, who spent his childhood believing the bow and arrow was the latest and greatest in human inventions. And the way this trio trust each other so early in their relationship is really quite special. Yuru is a proven hunter and fighter, and the daemons understand this. There's a sequence where he is captured, and the Kagamoris think the right and left will do anything to free their master, but those two essentially trust that he'll survive captivity just fine, and they go on a rampage against the Kagamoris. The other guy goes, "You're supposed to prioritize rescuing your master over everything else," and Yuru goes, they're pretty hands-off. Migi, the right, goes, "You've got your way, we've got ours," and Hidari, the left, says, "We may do as we please as long as the job gets done." They're these larger-than-life battle gods, but their human companion also has, quote, "the mind of a die-hard hunter." For the Digimon fans in my audience, it's the Marcus Daemon punching Digimon thing taken to the next level. The last cool bit of lore I want to cover in this video is what happens to daemons if and when their master dies, their human dies. Jin Kagamori tells us that if they're not transferred before the human dies, they become strays. Quote, "The daemon's contract comes to an end and they're bound to that location like a ghost." This is super sick. It's practically an in-world explanation for hauntings and ghosts. He continues, quote, "If no new contractor appears, they are forgotten over time. After a few decades or centuries, they no longer exist." This I love as well. It's that religious component where the continued worship and memory of the gods is what keeps them powerful. If you ever watched Noragami or played Digimon Survive, it's the process of being forgotten that is the true death of these spirits. In the interest of keeping things mostly spoiler-free, I've only covered the first 5 episodes in this video, hopefully convincing you that there is something really compelling here in this first serious follow-up to Fullmetal Alchemist. I am really into what Daemons of the Shadow Realm is offering. There is classic Arakawa all over this thing, echoes of Fullmetal, whether it's the human designs, the monsters, the abilities of select characters resembling alchemy techniques, the tapping into ancient religions to tell a timeless tale. And for someone like me who is this super fan of Millennium-era tamer stories, Digimon, Shaman King, Cardcaptor, the Fullmetal Alchemist creator telling a story about spirit tamers is kind of amazing, best case scenario. Of course, let me know in the comments what you think about Daemons of the Shadow Realm, YOMI no Tsugai. If you've watched it, read it, if it's your first time hearing about this, I want to get your thoughts. Subscribe if you haven't already. I know these days subscribing to anything on YouTube is a bit old school, a bit pointless with the algorithms and homepage being so good, but consider it a personal favor. If you subscribe, comment to let me know you're a first-time time subscriber, and I'll write you back a personal thanks in the replies. It should go without saying, but subscribing is free and it'll help me reach my goal of 100,000 subs on this one-person channel. Thanks, take care, see you in the next video.